Hello everyone and welcome back. Let's take a look
Yes?
at our new friend Elif. Edit Grimoire. Wizards have the ability to learn a staggering number of spells, but they are always limited by the capacity of their grimoires. At any given time, a grimoire may only contain 4 spells of each level. Click on a spell in the right panel to remove it from the grimoire. Add spells to empty slots by clicking on the spell on the left panel. Oh. I've also heard that you can get multiple grimoires, and I think you can use them kind of like just weapon sets, so you can be switching your books during combat. So that sounds kind of cool. Alright, Minoleta's Minor Missiles. Fast casting speed, 15 meters, 3 projectiles. Has a interrupt, 11 to 19 crush. Base of 10 to 18, but stats have been increased due to, I'm assuming, this character's might. This is versus deflection. Okay. Dazzling Lights. Foe AoE, minus 10 will, and then dazed for 15.6 seconds. Again, increased from the base because of his stats. Dazed, huh? What does Dazed do for him? Victim's accuracy is reduced by 10. Dexterity, perception, and intellect, jeez, are all reduced by 2. Speed is reduced by 15. Okay. Kalikoth's Sunless Grasp. Interrupt. Freeze damage, quite a lot. Minus 10 accuracy for 20 seconds. Versus deflection. Wow. Fan of Flames. It's a cone effect. Can you say burning hands, anyone? Length of 7.13 meters. Wow. 42 to 58 burn versus reflex? Holy crap. And the one that we don't have. Caster gains plus 20 deflection until damaged. Well, I like the spells that he has in his spell book. Arcane Assault. 2 per encounter. Unleash a bolt of magical energy from the grimoire that inflicts raw damage and dazes targets in an area. Ooh. Cool.
Of
All right.
course.
Well, let's
As you wish.
head inside. Who are you? Villager. Not important. Not important.
I shall be discreet.
You may be important. Pasca.
Hail and well met.
The innkeeper bows her head curtly. Please sit where you like. Would you like a drink or a room? We have 2 available at the moment. I'm afraid we can't offer much by way of a good meal today, she sighs. Unless you're fond of cold porridge. Black Hound, what? I would like a room, please. Of course, we keep them nice and tidy. Inns allow characters to rest without using camping supplies. Cheap rooms are usually available, but if you have copper to spend, you may consider the more expensive options. The bonuses they provide last for a long time and affect the entire party. Plus 1 perception and mechanics. Plus 2 to the resolve. Wow. That's kind of cool. Recruit adventurers. 250 copper pieces to recruit an adventurer. The shop. We have a lot of stuff. Deflection, minus 4 accuracy. Does she not buy those? I guess not. Does she have money that I'm not seeing? What? Huh. Oh, did I mess up by putting those straight in the inventory? Oh boy. I think I may have. Oh shoot. I will keep that one. Whoops. Let's grab one. Plus 5 max endurance for 300 seconds. It's only... Sure. Plus I can last longer if we have survival up. What is him up to? Plus 6 max endurance for 10 seconds. Plus 1 constitution for 150. 1 damage reduction for 300 seconds. Well, sure. Okay. I'm kind of tempted to recruit a person. No companions available to hire. From the party management screen, you can see what your allies are up to when they aren't in the party. If you've assigned them to adventurers, you can see how long it will take for them to complete their assignment. You can send people on adventures? Recalling a companion or adventure from a mission before it is completed will forfeit all the potential rewards. That's cool. Alright, so we'll trade all that, which gives us enough money to recruit an adventurer. I don't know if I want to do that quite yet. Do I? Do we? Huh. Let's just rest. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of the Gilded Vale's gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face has shriveled inward like moldering fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches from your face. Suddenly, her head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air, she speaks a word. Watcher. Watcher. You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animator. Oh, jeez. Though it fills you with a new, queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. Interesting. Are all these just villagers? That's a drunkard. Wait, what? Strom Brightblade. That sounds familiar. Strom Brightblade. Dragonlance novels? There was a Strom in those, right? Oh, okay. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this woman's soul. You see a woman emptying her satchel onto her bed, taking stock of her inventory. Potions, bandages, tinctures, and herbs are scattered throughout her room haphazardly. She bites her lip, head tilted to the side, considering. She begins to repack one item after the other, careful deliberation undercut by shaking hands. Each item has a clearly marked place, but no matter how she repacks it, she isn't satisfied. The shaking worsens as she empties it out once more, one hand held to her mouth. Tears eke from her eyes as she gives up all semblance of order and shoves everything she can in the satchel, grabbing it and running out of the bare house. Straightening her back, she walks to the docks, chin high, eyes hard and red. A gangly young elf offers his condolences, but she can't see him for the ocean ahead of her. She wanders the docks, offering her services as a doctor to any who will listen, anyone heading out on high tide. Less than an hour later, she watches her childhood disappear in the distance, a tiny speck of an island, and tries not to jump. Interesting. You see a group of young men standing around a makeshift practice target. This man stands in the middle of them, explaining the construction and use of a bow. He holds it up, pointing out each part as he speaks about it and what it does. He then walks away from the target, telling them to remain where they are, and takes his place about 200 feet away. He carefully lines up a shot, explaining what he is doing as he does, and lets the arrow fly. It hits the target dead center, much to the surprise and delight of the boys near it. He smiles, walking towards the boys, talking about proper stance and how to most effectively hold a bow. A noise comes from the tree line near the practice venue and he stops, scanning the woods, blue eyes squinting against the sun. A shadow moves, making its way through the forest behind him. He draws an arrow and lines up the shot, carefully tracking the motion of the hidden creature. Loosening the arrow, he wastes no time and quickly grabs another. The boys spin, watching the arrow fly into the forest, immediately lost among the trees. There is a sudden, explosive movement in the undergrowth as a deer erupts from the tree line, running across the edge of the clearing. The boys laugh, turning to joke with the man about his lousy shot. They stop talking, seeing him holding the bow and leading the deer with a knocked arrow. They drop to the ground as he looses this last arrow, which flies true and strikes the deer right behind its shoulder, piercing heart and lungs and dropping it dead almost immediately. The boys stare at the deer for a few seconds and then slowly turn to look at the man, newfound respect in their eyes. He smiles again and breathes a quiet sigh of relief. Huh. Okay. Just see into the history of all these people. Another one. Another one. Oh, jeez. We could be here for a while. Oh, we probably shouldn't pick that right in front.
Blade in the dark.
My guy says that. These bones are covered in tiny bite marks. Oh, jeez. Ah. Okay. Well, let's go to the tree. That's not the pistol! Oh, that's the knife, silly! Not the pistol, it's a knife. This is probably going to be a little creepy. The squat, distinted body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bow that sags at the tug of her noose. Bow? The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it, not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out toward the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing, electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman, and when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog, her body still swaying in a wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear, or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
Clearly, I had too much to drink last night.
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy, even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I. Wherever here may be.
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
That's... okay. I think I survived a bivouac. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me, no?
I guess they are. I need to understand something that's happened to me. She nods, a look of pity on her face, as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there?
Sure, yeah. I've always noticed the dead people.
You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
What's a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair, and here we are visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how.
Okay.
A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder!
And what do you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
She smiles at you reassuringly, fanning out a tuft of long whiskers that sprouts from one of her cheeks.
You should see old Merwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
You said something about souls breaking apart over time.
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
I want to know something about you.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though. And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
And what happened to you? She laughs, a rasping, choked cackle escaping between rows of buttery yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with each spasm. Seeing your blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer. Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
And what is an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us? The best? Inspirations. Miracle workers. My parents were soul twins. Miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other. Turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I loved the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
Huh. Alright, let's see if we have any other questions.
Of course, dear.
Never mind.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Caldara closes her eyes and her head slumps forward over the noose, and your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. Elif looks at you through narrowed eyes. Are you alright? You seemed lost just now. Just thought about Neo from the Matrix. I know Kung Fu. I'm a watcher. Yes, I'm fine. He folds his arms. That's good to know, but I don't suppose you could tell me what that was all about. I guess I have to. His arched eyebrows recede into his hood. Well, that is interesting. He gives you a sly grin. And I expect this has something to do with the hooded figures in the runes, In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, it's probably wise for us to share these things. Do you know anything about Watchers? Only that they're rare and that they seem to have unique insights into certain soul conditions, as you just demonstrated. Let's continue on. Travel to Cade Nua. Okay. Guess that's our next stop.
17 and a half.
What? Anyway, there's stairs over
You
here.
must gather your...
What? A man lies resting against the wall, lit by the dim illumination of the fading sconces. He has a gaunt, fox-like aspect, and his face is pale and damp with sweat. One arm is held loosely against his side, his sleeve soaked with blood. He gives you an anxious glance as you near, his features twisted with pain.
How do you do?
Huh. Thought you were some... Never mind. Whoever you are, you've traveled a long way to reach a dark place. This temple isn't what it used to be. Probably for the best. Times being as they are. He groans and shifts position, wincing. I'm no looter, if that's what you're thinking. Not one of the faithful either. Just wanted to do some good, I suppose. Got my arm clawed up for it. He regards you warily. Maybe you'd have better luck. Better luck with what? The man points his fingers upwards. These ruins around us used to be a temple of Eothas, the scattered god. A grand temple at that. His worshippers would come from all over the Direwood, from Red Karas even. Reed Karas? So many new fantasy names I need to get used to. Until the war, of course. Even then, you'd get some of the stubborn ones. The ones that couldn't get it through their heads that their god was dead and gone. Go on. No. Get to the point. As you like. Once the legacy started, Lord Redrick decided he'd be too lenient on the Ithosians. He had his people go in and put them all to the sword, left them down there, buried under a heap of rock. Heretics or not, their deaths didn't stop the legacy. Didn't do much of anything at all. They didn't deserve to go like that, chopped down in their god's house. If you can get down there, find their remains, maybe we can finally give them a proper burial. No small task. There's coin in it for you if you need motivating. Allah's cautious expression softens. A pleasant surprise to see that someone around here has a shred of respect for the dead. I take it you aren't supposed to be in here. Wait, you want me to bring you some skeletons? I'd bury them where they are if I could. I know it's a little macabre, but if we don't get them out now, Redrick's liable to destroy whatever's left of them. I'll find them. If there's coin in it, I'll find them. Then by the flame, I owe you a good turn. But listen, the temple's been sealed off for so long, it's crawling with creatures. But if you get past them, the priests would have been down there on the lower floor. They'll still be there, if they're anywhere. Those priests had all kinds of secret chambers. Switches in the walls, trick sconces, that kind of thing. Keep an eye out, and take care down there. I wouldn't want to have to send someone else after your remains. Witcham looks up at the stairs. You might talk to that Adir fellow, if Redrick hasn't hanged him yet. Word is, he's a follower of the dead god. Maybe he'll know something more about this place. He's usually out by the smithy. I'll wait here by the stairs and keep a lookout. Maybe try to patch myself up some. Okay, sure. Let's go talk to that other guy again. But in the next episode. Hope you enjoyed, everybody. I'll see you then. Take care.